Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first late night TCG of the new year in our Lord's year 2025. It's been a minute. We've between a myriad of disease and health and two holidays on a Wednesday. We've not had a late night stream in quite some time, but we're very happy to be here with you guys. I am Kyle Cooper Rios here with my friend Henry Ubel Peraza. Hi, Henry. Let me be the last person to wish you a happy New Year.
Well, we're a quarter of the way through the century and a couple Wednesdays in to a lovely late night season
We did
kicking
it, Joe.
off
We did it.
at 2:32. We certainly did it. Raise the glasses.
I don't have a glass. I have a Wendy's sody pop, but
That works.
that works too. Yeah, we're here to bring you guys some late night. And I think we're gonna do some chatting on the fly here. We do have some options for as let me hit refresh on the old page here. Yeah, we got our top 16 cut. We got some fun stuff to look forward to tonight. A couple of names if you're a Pokemon TCG player that you might be familiar with. Gabriel Fernandez, best Pokemon player in Brazil, is gracing us tonight with his presence. He's playing, I believe he's playing Terapagos Dusknoir. So
Yes, yeah,
one of the
he's on
best
a
in the
pretty.
biz. Yeah. We also got John Wangard, member of the Lost Zone Kitchen. He's rocking with Miraidon. A lot of deck variety here tonight, Henry. Would you want to hop in a voice chat one? We'll see what we got going on there.
Yeah, sure. Let's.
All right, we are here.
Yeah, taking a gander at some hand pancake who's representing the Reggie Drago on a prominent list for the format. Meanwhile, on the other side of said match, Praw is who he's playing against on very clearly some of the Raging Bull Ogre Pond kind of mess. Both players kind of already fully set up here.
Yeah, not surprised to see these decks in some general capacity. They're both two of the most popular decks in the format right now. I expect them to be very popular until they fall apart on themselves. And they'll take Reggie Drago out of our cold dead hands in March when rotation hits. But this is probably one of those matchups where Reggie Drago is. It's one of the few bad ones that this deck has. I think what makes Reggie Drago a great deck is that it has options and lines of play until anything that it wants to do, basically. But the thing what makes Raging Bull really good is that it can pop off on its first turn of the game, and you're a deck that plays a lot of bench liabilities that give up a bunch of prize cards. So, gonna be interesting to see how this shakes out here for Hand Pancake because it did look like that they were going first. So
Ooh, hit the hits on the Pokemon catcher. And I do 100% agree here, Kyle. As we can see with said Pokemon catcher swapping in the Regidrago V from the bench, uh, Raging Bolt in general just feels like a very turbo style of deck. Like get set up
ooh,
and put out big attackers, big damage, and some powerful setup really quickly with the Ogre Mons as well to draw cards. Meanwhile, Regidrago is one of those decks that require some digging, require some setup. You're trying to get every single dragon type Pokemon name as you can in your deck right into your discard as soon as possible. And that requires you to turbo through a bunch of your stuff to utilize your professor's researches, your Ionos if you can find them. Of course, seeing the Ogre Ponds matters a ton. Squawkabilly is already on the bench, probably already used. Like this, it takes some time, and that may not necessarily be time you have. Though both players seem to be in a pretty ready position to start going on the offensive should the time find its way over
yeah,
to set up.
Hand Pancake looks like they're pretty well set up right now, and just like that, you saw a scenario there where Pra was trying to stall out a turn, without getting an attack off by gusting up a Regidrago V with a heavy retreat cost. But Hand Pancake able to get set up very easily. So looking at the myriad of options you have to play with here, there is no V-Star power utilized yet, and there's a superior energy retrieval in the hand. So Trifrost could be an option here, but I don't really see the angle in going for that. Raging Bolt's just a little too chunky for you to get like 2 turns of Trifrost to win the game in 2 attacks. So it looks like it is going to be the tried and true Phantom Dive, copying Dragapult EX's attack. 200 to the active, 6 damage counters to the bench. We're just going to set up some math here to take some, multiple prize cards turns. And the odd prize has been taken. So the ball's now back in Praw's court. So going to promote the Raging Bolt. We've activated Fez. We're going to see what, curious what the hand looks like. But, there could be a scenario here for a strong turn to follow up.
Man, there's already so much gas on the side of this of Hand Pancake's hand as well. I mean, you utilize the Phantom Dive, so there's no energy discard. Meanwhile, Prawn gets to flip the script and see how they're going to navigate this turn. A second Ogerpon helps a ton with the card draw and the turbo-y nature. You get a pair of grass energies for said card draw. Get to see and attach plenty. An attack seems to be shaping up for this turn, but it does depend on what you see here. And it has to be something impactful off of these teal dances, because this Regidrago is ready just to do it all over again.
We're going to hit the Pokegear, and we get the essential card you need to get things going here, which is that Professor Sada's Vitality. It's going to light. Yep. It's the straw that stirs the drink with this deck. Allows you to accelerate energy to your ancient Pokemon, and then draw 3 cards if you accelerate energy that way. So we do have 1 energy in the discard pile, though. So we are still a fighting energy short. Could hit the Pokestop, get a couple more Pokemon catchers for your trouble. But what we're missing here are the Vessels, Henry. We need unless that lightning energy is hiding in, unless that other fighting energy is hiding in hand, things could get a little awkward here. But we see the attach. 10 cards in hand. Do we have the fighting energy? Oh.
One of them's already on an existing Raging Bolt. Has to use the switch card to get it in, but it is still sitting at the prime number, the 200 damage that is ready in for the taking by any Regidrago V. But you do see the 280, the full discard, not the full discard, but discarding a ton of energy, taking 2 prize cards from the Regidrago, and the Cleffa is forced in. But with a superior energy retrieval and another Ogerpon waiting in hand, a flip the script ready to go, there's so much utility on the side of Hand Pancake. Not to mention the Prime Catcher ready to go to get that Regidrago in as soon as it's ready. We don't even need the Ogerpons.
Yeah.
At
this point, we're pretty all right. You're gonna get that energy back. All you need is the 1 energy attached from hand, because we have the fire energy attached already. So being able to power yourself up here is gonna be good. And because the even prize card was taken from the other side on Radiant Charizard is now a viable attacking option here. So, that's something to set up for next turn. And we're going to throw in a Jamming Tower for good measure. If there weren't any tools on board, that would have, which is something that this deck does play. It's something to keep in mind here to turn that off. So we're going to see 2 prize cards taken here. And again, you're just going to be able to set up the math so nicely for yourself, but you're still on odd prize cards. So that is something you're going to have to, to worry about.
Was there a universe where you don't flip the script there? I mean, with the 8 cards left in deck, you're trying to play careful.
It's fine. They still haven't used their V-Star power yet, so you can get Iono and Super Rod back into the deck. I think at this point, given how many cards are left in the deck, how many cards are left in your hand, there's going to be a scenario where Hand Pancake is just going to be able to, if they don't have something, if they get Iono, they'll have enough on deck to be able to draw through the rest of their deck. So At this point, it's all just information. That's poignant.
Mm. Very true. Very true. There, man. This is a
It's a
this
big
is a
old
tough.
hand.
It's a big old hand on both sides. What is that? 11 cards to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 to 9, and then the pal pad to shuffle things back. The rough part here for Prawn is that, like, despite you having so many resources ready to go and your engine fully online at this point, with a flip the script as well to draw 3 more cards, there's a lot of threats to answer. So the line here is going to need to be either hyper offensive, which seems to be the direction we're heading in, and just a pure I'm ahead on prize math. Like, I need to make sure I'm hitting you for as hard as possible every single turn. Or if there's another way you can orchestrate this entire setup, maybe with something like those Pokemon catchers for any amount of stall ability. Maybe you have a defensive line there, but seems like we're going for just full on, like, let's play this out. Let's hit each other as hard as we can and see who's left standing.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of an interesting exchange for Hand Pancake here. There is no other Regidrago established, and the V-Star power still hasn't been procced yet. So any of those resources you're going to be able to get back, you're not going to be able to get any of those resources back. I don't know if there's I think the play you go for here is that you you let your opponent build up a big hand. You proc Fez, and you also have other means of drawing on deck. So you hope that you draw into the Iono and you're able to, disrupt your opponent down to 2 prize cards. It gives you a chance to offset your prize race and then attack with Radiant Charizard here. But that's probably the line of attack we're going for here. You're not so. We'll see if that's if they're gonna have enough gas left in the tank to be able to get that done. They still have Prime Catcher, obviously, so like they'll be able to get 2 attacks out of the Charizard if Charizard doesn't get like knocked out. But and it's gonna be very interesting to see how these last couple turns kind of play out.
The fun part about setting up game states where both players have 10 plus cards in hand, 9 plus cards in hand, is you just kind of have to assume that they have everything. And you can reasonably do that because they're holding more cards in their hand than they have left in their deck. So from that point on, you kind of know what you're playing around just because they have everything. It's just a matter of whether you can do that with the resources you have available.
Alrighty, just like that though, you are there. Pra was able to get the attack off, knock out the lone Regidrago V-Star left. We now have the Radiant Charizard angle here. You can just kind of take a look at some resources, what is important to go for here. Deck does not play boss's orders traditionally, if I believe so correctly. Sometimes that's like a fringe card that is played in Raging Bolt, but that's not necessarily going to be the case. And there is no Iono left in the deck, so the hand is going to remain extra large here. So you hope that you knock out the. You're going to be able to get the knockout on the Raging Bolt. So curious how the resource game is going to get managed out here for Pra. See what sort of recovery cards we're looking at here. There's a couple of Night Stretchers. I don't know how many Sada they're down, so interesting game of cat and mouse we got here, Henry.
Yeah, almost is because you have the Cleffa with its free retreat cost, you're almost willing to get rid of the Prime Catcher, but not in the cards for this one. We're just going to go for the Combustion Blast. You put out the 1 prize attacker to try and live the extra turn. You take a 1 prize Pokemon, get the Grass Energy, 3 for 3 on those. or 3 for 7 rather, but a third one into hand. And now the Raging Bolt comes back out.
Flip the coin.
Let's see how many. Oh, we got it.
And sad
Just
emotes only.
yeah. Sometimes your opponent hits heads, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, again, it's just one of those scenarios where like this matchup basically boils down to like who sets up first and who goes 2-2-2 quicker. Both sides want to kind of to like bait you into taking the singular prize card, and unfortunately, that was a scenario that Hand Pancake was forced into, so they were forced to play that extra prize card out, and on the other side, Prod just had everything. This matchup is tough for a reason. Raging Bolt is such an interesting deck, and where it feels like so fake sometimes, but it is still played at a quite the popular clip. So it's got its staunch believers, and this is a pretty okay-ish hand if you're Hand Pancake going first. An Ultra Ball to get rid of those dragons, and and a couple of ways to get your setup guys out of the deck. So we'll see if game 2 bodes any different results here.
Yeah, it's a lot of just like mixed results. That grass energy is not too bad. You get it opening for Nest Ball, choosing to bypass the Squawk ability.
Yeah, for now, I think you're just gonna immediately go back in and grab Big Squawkington. So,
I guess you could have done that in either order.
Yeah, either way, you're just kind of gathering information. See if Squawk just had to show up for work today. So, yep, we're gonna get max value out of what will be cards we could in the hand right here. So, and a pretty. Yeah, that's fine. As long as you can get the second Drago established in this matchup, you'll be pretty all right. So, and otherwise, I think you just kind of sit on this hand, and if your opponent has it, then they got it. So,
yeah, not a bad turn one at all, right? You now have 2 Regidragos and access to the V-Star for one of them. Iono to disrupt further on the next turn and see more cards in the deck, and then Fezandipity, something that you can play or hold on to just in case for whatever happens to the Ogerpon. And you're especially going to need that given how fast the Raging Bolt deck can play. Starting with a Raging Bolt means, for the most part, that a first turn attack might be on the way.
Yep. That is ideally what you want to do with this deck. But it looks like we lost the Pal Pad there. So that's going to make some of these in-between turns a little bit awkward here. And it's going to make these Pokestops a little bit more dangerous, Henry. If once those Sadas are gone, they are in the Disney Vault forever. You're never getting them back.
Yeah, is it just the one Pal Pad? It is just the one Pal Pad for this list. That kind of removes a ton of late game grinding.
Yeah, it's a tough scenario to be in. Again, you're a deck that you're a turbo deck. You obviously want to just keep going as fast as possible. So you hate to lose the Pal Pad in that spot, but you can't just compromise your own game plan by not doing it. And wow, missing the turn one attack. Instead of first going to have to burst for you, discard your hand and you draw 6 cards. So this is a great opportunity here for Hand Pancake to do what you want to do in this matchup, and that's take those first 2 prize cards.
Yeah, that is a ugly first turn, despite it seeming to start off pretty good. The draw is just not in favor there. Now you get the discard of the Ultra Ball for the Earthen Vessel, a Teal Dance to see another card, as well as an Energy Switch already online. Professor's Research is nice to see. And then you Energy Switch out to set up the Regidrago for who's ready and able to swing. Just a matter if you want to, and the answer is yes, you want to research right away. Even Pokestop, because you don't mind stuff being in the discard, which includes a Radiant Charizard.
Yeah, no, that was pretty standard stuff. We're gonna get the Gudra immediately into the discard pile. It looks like all your major players are there. We're gonna grab the Giratina, and we can get that into the discard as well. I'm looking at. Let's see here. I didn't get a chance to see who might have been prize in this matchup here. Except if I'm looking at Pros, let's see. If I'm looking at Hand Pancake's list, they do play the Alolan Executor, which is a great card in this specific matchup because it's a guaranteed knockout on a big basic Pokemon, which is always good stuff to find. So.
Yeah, the one downside, of course, is we need a switch. We need something to get the Regidrago in. Going for the Legacy Star to see if we can find it.
We got an energy switch, which is fine. Yeah, you can use the energy switch to attach into to move one of those grass energies onto the Ogre Pond, and they're just like hard retreated out the old-fashioned way. So that it's not ideally how you want to go about that turn, but it'll get the job done.
Yeah. Unfortunate to have to develop the forced effectively to develop the Regidrago over a couple of turns instead of able to find the switch or the prime catcher or anything of the sort. But hey, it's the way that it goes. Actually, never mind. With the energy switch works completely because Ogerpon is a good card and only has 1 energy cost for retreat.
Pretty good stuff. Decisions. Looking at, I guess, yeah. If you want to take the first 2 prize cards, Lars Impact is fine. Obviously, like that's it's a card that's an attack you hate to use early, but because of just how bulky Raging Bolt is, you kind of have to use that to establish the dominance. So the prize race has now started, Henry, and we got the Big Egg himself out the prize cards. So that card is going to become a big factor on this subsequent turn.
Yeah, especially on this board state. Everything's a basic, and of course, everything is a little bit tankier than you want it to be. Without some turns to set up, you're taking 2 turns minimum to deal with any individual Pokemon that is an engine piece. This is a lot of stuff being slammed down onto the bench, though. A pair of Raging Bolts. You're in a pretty commanding position here when it comes to the amount of energy that can be put on. And, of course, this Regidrago being effectively fully ready to go on the offensive. Plus the Earthen Vessel to get the Alolan Executor. There's a lot of card draw and a lot of power being displayed. And the Bravery Charm. And another Earthen Vessel discarding the Slither Wing for a fighting and a grass energy. The fighting energy can be attached, and the grass energy can be danced upon.
Yeah, the subsequent turn here is going to be huge for Pro if they're able to get off an attack. And they're going to be able to do so. The Bellowing Thunder is going to connect for, more than enough energy on board for the for the 280 HP knockout. So now we're going to only have 1 other Regidrago in play without any energy on it. So you're going to need a few pieces here to kind of get this one off. Now, thankfully for Hand Pancake, you do have the Super Rod in your hand. So you can Super Rod back in your Drago pieces, see a lot of your deck on this subsequent turn.
Radiant Charizard, Fire Energy.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah. I was saying, no way you don't put back the V-Star here.
No, please go get that. We kind of have to.
It's a little bit necessary, to say the least. Attach the Fire Energy for turn? Or Earthen Vessel first?
I don't think you need... Yeah, the Vessel's kind of useless at this point because you have all your energy in your hand or in your discard already. So I think you just accelerate the energy with the Teal Dance. But this is an interesting spot to be in now because if you go for this Legacy Star or Research, there's going to be you're gonna deck yourself out here, so you're in kind of an awkward spot by how fast you burn your deck down. And you use your V-Star power already. Oh, that's that. That they just lose the
Yeah,
game
that's
here.
it.
I didn't realize that hand pancake used her V-Star power already, so that's why I
Yeah, they used it to get back an energy switch on the turn where they set up the Richie Drago V Star, and that's quite the shame that the deck math ended up falling in the way that it did.
yeah.
Turned a very, very promising start and a slower start on the side of Prawn into a loss just because they had no more way to do anything. They were
Yeah.
just at the victim of draw card pass turn,
Yeah.
which you know that's the end of the game.
Yeah. You just lose there. Do you want to head over to voice chat 4, see what they got going on over there?
Yeah, let's bounce over.
Cool. And we're in. We're Lost Box Gaming.
Hey gamers,
We're
this
back.
is let's see, this is a PKS Blaze, as mentioned on the Lost Box.
Yep, against
Up a game as well.
yep, going up against the Trilogy 101, who's playing Miraidon. So Miraidon coming back into the good graces here. And this is not just any Lost Box variant, Henry. This is the GOAT, one of my favorite hard decks to play when I feel like hurting my brain. Lost Giratina. It's kind of a lost, no pun intended, lost relic from a few formats ago, but still a very strong card. That can do a lot of damage very efficiently, and going up against a very fast deck in Miraidon. So, very curious how that first game played out, and very curious to see how this game is also going to play out.
Yeah, I'm very interested. Of course, the Lost Box player is PKS Blaze, is up a game, and a little bit of a. It's always hard to tell with Lost Box because I want to look at this and be like, oh my god, look at all the shiny cardboard on the other side of the screen. Like you got the new Pikachu, like Miraidon, it's got the Bravery Charm, Electric Generator is attaching cards, hits just for one, but that's perfectly fine. That's average. This is probably a really rough position, but it's like, oh, but that's a lot of Comfey. Comfey's the GOAT. Like,
Yeah.
Comfey is Comfey, a Mirage Gate in hand. You see the V Star. Like, you're gonna take a beating, but that's kind of the benefit of a deck like Lost Box. You're forcing your opponent only to take one prize card at a time if you play your cards right. When they take out a Comfey, then you recover it by some means and reset up this loop, whether it be with the nest balls or the unfair stamps or what have you. You're just slowing the game down and accruing resources via the flower selecting.
Kind of an interesting spot to be in here. This is a deck that obviously takes advantage of Area 0 underdepths, hence why you play the Terra Pikachu EX. But, okay, I was going to say, there's... I don't know if they got that off the top deck. If they got that off the Fleetfoot, that is so sick.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, heart of the card, baby.
Like,
then you
actually, that's so gas.
Dude, this deck is so wild when you just say screw the rules, right? Like one of the funniest things to always consider is that the energy attaches onto the Iron Hands
Oh,
and
God.
passes turn over. Like, look at how intimidating this board state is.
This is pretty nuts stuff. So,
all right, flower selecting has to get rid of the water energy, put it in the lost zone. I believe that was 5, 6 in the lost zone, which the magic number is 7.
Yeah, so we definitely hit 7 at that point if Mirage Gate is on board. So now comes the fun part. We get to utilize Mirage Gate, utilize the Giratina V-Star here. Obviously, that lost impact attack. We see it a lot more often in Reggie Drago nowadays. But, once upon a time, this deck was its own archetype. Lost Impact does 280 damage, and you put 2 of your energy from that Pokemon, or 2 of your energies in play, into the Lost Zone. But also you get Giratina's Star Requiem V-Star power, which automatically knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon. So things can get out of hand real quick against Giratina very quickly. And we see a scenario here where the Trilogy 101 has a 1-card hand and not a lot going on here. So
yeah, it incentivizes really. Like, hey, I'm gonna take down this Raikou.
Or you just take out the Iron
give you
Hands
one card
here.
a turn. That's the other option, right? Like, hey, I'm going to either cut off your any amount of card draw that you have, or I take out the biggest threat on the board, which, of course, is the Iron Hands. And the latter option is chosen. A couple of energies to the Lost Zone and a couple prize cards to the hand. And despite the massive bench and everything seeming to be going in the way of the Miraidon player, TRT, one big Giratina matches the whole board with its menace. That's a Pheasantipity getting shuffled back into the deck, though. And 1-card draw.
It's good.
Heavy ball. Wow, wrote him.
Instant charge. Well, all right. Let's see if PKS Blades can keep the good times a rolling here. We're gonna hit the Chorus. We're gonna get ever so close to that threshold for Star Requiem. You have to have 10 in the Lost Zone, to be able to utilize that V-Star power. So again, just kind of think about what to do here. Getting rid of the water energy is not like the worst thing in the world, because it's very clear that Greninja was not going to be an option in this matchup, but you take it anyway. You get rid of the Super Rod. You obviously played a full 4 rods, so not worried about that. Again, this is like, lost. This I don't think this deck has ever been like that, truly that bad. Except in the Reggie Drago, that matchup stinks. But if you're able to get yourself set up efficiently here, this deck is still has a lot of tools to play with.
Yeah, not necessarily power crept by power, of course, but power crept by, this deck's been around for a while. Let's play with the new toys.
Yeah.
Sometimes this is the way it be.
Sometimes they print cards called Curum that say, hey, you know that guy Chorus in your deck? I hate that guy.
I forgot that Curum is a card. Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's funny because Curum is like a legit, you don't have to discard it in this matchup. Like when you play against Lost Box as a Reggie Drago player, you can just put that guy on the bench. He gets to actually show up to the party. It's really funny.
Just bodyguard it up. I really dislike this one dude, and if he's here, I'm going to scream.
Massive hater energy from Curum. All right, gotta shuffle a couple of Chorus's experiments back into the deck. We have a switch card.
Giratina loves Curum, not Curum. Chorus.
Yeah. They're best friends. They went to college together.
This is super good buddies.
Okay.
Not really. Not pressing the advantage any further. Getting rid of the Area 0 with the Lost Vacuum is quite massive. Another card that's rotating in the coming spring. The Lost Vacuum, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think you're okay sacking the singular prize here. Your opponent hasn't done much the last couple turns, so and I'm curious. I didn't notice how many generators are down or this or that. So there are still lines of play here, obviously for the trilogy. But again, these last couple, when you're forced to play that far down with a 1 or 2 card hand, you're gonna have a couple turns off. So you'll take this bit of levity here in the action, but you're gonna have to do something with it.
Yeah, getting the Rotom off of the Hisuian Heavy Ball was a massive grab to swing at least somewhat into position to get back into this game tempo wise. The prize cards are even, but the setup is just so far behind on the side of Miraidon, and you're already down a game for the trilogy. And energy is attached for turn, but given the slowness of the play, there's nothing obvious about how their 4 card hand needs to be sequenced.
Oh, okay, just Iono. That works.
In fact, we didn't like it at all. It's like, get this out of here.
Wait a second, I hate golf. Wow. Okay.
Oof. 7 cards, nothing doing.
All right, gets another psychic energy. All right, Super Rod's a huge pull here. There we go. 3 really good cards to get right there.
Yeah.
You get the Jet energy to move into the active, the Super Rod to get back your other energy that you had to discard, and a Mirage Gate in hand to move that other energy into play. So, good stuff.
Yeah, kind of the perfect sequence to get everything you need. And the Lost Zone should have well over 10 by this point,
Yeah, I think
especially with the flower selecting.
we're definitely past the threshold at this point. We're totally good.
So that kind of sets up a inevitable endgame here, because as long as the Giratina makes it past this turn, of which we will be going for the Lost Impact 280 to take out the Raikou, anything that gets put into play on the following turn, regardless if it's a 1 prize or 2 prize, is gone.
Yeah, I think this is a good scenario to be in right now. Again, 280 HP is a lot for this deck to have to hit. That's Miraidon kind of struggles in those matches where it has to scale the very high damage wall, and that's why you do play the 1 copy of Raichu. Raichu obviously does let you hit those big knockouts when you can, with with its dynamic spark attack, but it's tough given like the board state right now. There isn't a whole lot that the trilogy has set up at the moment, so it's going to be hard.
Very slim pickings here, Kyle. Now, here's a question for you. As we see Pheasantipity nestballed onto the bench. The Resolute Heart ability on Pikachu EX. That reads, if this Pokemon has full HP, which it does, and would be knocked out by damage from an attack, it is not knocked out, and this HP becomes 10. Does that count for the V-Star power?
I'm glad you asked that, Henry, because the V-Star power bypasses Resolute Heart, because Star Requiem is the effect of an attack. It is not damage from an attack. So Pikachu gets blown up.
Yeah. Well, there we go. The saving grace and the one real utility that Pikachu has in this deck, besides being a Terra Pokemon for Area 0, is the ability to kind of stall things out a little bit, survive an attack. But no, that's not on the table.
No, it's not. This is we see the immediate pivot back into the old Miraidon, but we have the other psychic energy in hand. If we need a hand disruption there, we're not going to get it. We're just going to attach to the active, and we're just going to press the button and blow up the dragon. PKS Blaze coming out on top in that game in a 2-0 clip. So very good stuff to them.
Very, very well played.
Cool.
I'm looking through the TRTS TRTs 101 list here. There wasn't much hand disruption to begin with. 9 cards in hand, you would think there'd be something, but only playing the 1 Iona, which they may have already used in that game, if I remember correctly, as well as the Forest Sealstone was on the Raikou, and that hence was in the discard. So not really a ton of options left on display at that point. Just needed to find a way to put out some offense, and it's a little too late. Too late for that.
Yeah, we'll send it back to the caster chat, and then we'll discuss what happened there in a bit more detail. So hang tight, guys. Oh, let me turn my camera on. That'll help. Hey, what are you looking at? It's us again. Yeah, we saw a great match between PKS Blaze there and TRT 101s. It's tough. I mean, yeah, the lack of hand disruption there definitely can rear its head very quickly. But like these turbo decks don't usually play stuff like that. They'll
Right.
play one maybe. Some decks don't even play any of it. Like Raging Bolt, very rarely plays hand disruption because that's not your game. Your game is to hit the ground running as fast as possible and punch the other guy in the face before they punch you back. So a good strategy. And again, Miraidon is good. It's good into what it's good at what it's good at. It's fast.
Right.
It does a lot of damage, and you have some more lines of flexibility in this deck now. Thanks now that you have the new Magneton card that accelerates energy into play, so it opens up other attackers back in your deck, like Raichu again. There are lines where this deck is very strong and very powerful, but I think just given the matchup draw there, that was not great.
Yeah, classic. Like when you see an aggro deck run into a control deck, like if you are not setting up and punching by turn 2, good luck.
See you on the other side.
Yeah, super, super tough. To catch everyone up on the bracket and how everything is going down, John Wangard, it dropped 2-0 to Joe Jao Pedro. Reading's a little hard. Riley
There.
448 and One Salty Steak are currently in a dead heat. 1-0 is not a dead heat, but they're currently in game number 2. Cristiano and Gabriel Fernandez. Gabriel Fernandez, as we mentioned, is up 1-0 and is one of the best players in Brazil. Then on the other side, Praw beat Hand Pancake, which we saw. Mark Sutian beat Draco I 2-0, PKS Blaze 2-0, Gumi 35 2-0, and Trains 346 2-0, meaning some semifinals, some top 8 is already underway.
Yeah, that's pretty good looking stuff here so far. Again, tough stuff, tough draw there for John. They played the Miraidon mirror, so that's basically like, okay,
That's tough. That's
who
tough.
who goes faster? Who
Yeah.
who gets that second prize first, Scoob. So,
Who hits the 2 off of electric generator?
yeah, exactly. Let's see, Marcus Tan is they're going to end up playing against PK Blaze here in a second. We can probably hop over that in a bit. But they beat Guardy with Charizard and Pidgeot. Pretty classic stuff there. Makes a good amount of sense. Shout out to Trains 346 with the Tropicals Dusknoir. They beat the Bridge though, which makes me sad. So
Yeah, that would be if Riley 448 also loses. That would mean 2 of the Arcaludon players making it into top 16 and then dropping in the round of 16. That's, of course, assuming that Riley 448 does lose, which it's down a game, but also it's a best of 3 set for a reason.
yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. So all right, we're gonna
It's crazy
take.
because the deck won Osaka. Whatever.
Yeah, that's a different. I don't know how. It's like that deck on paper should just like not work as well as it does right now. But it's Bridge Go Boom. All right, so before we hop in to the rest of our matches, folks, we're gonna take a quick, just 2-minute break, just to kind of refresh and give everyone a second to stretch. So get some water. We got some more matches coming up for you guys in a second. So hang tight. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. Okay, gamers, we're bringing you this game already in progress. It's PKS Blaze going up against Marcus Marcus C. Tan. That Y is just ever so cleverly placed there, and it's slipping
Yeah.
me up. But
Marcus Saiton? Marcus Saiton?
I'm gonna just
Marcus?
say Marcus C. Tan seems fine. We'll go still with that.
Marcus E10.
This is a matchup I have not seen in a hot second. Lost
Yeah, it's
Tina
been a
versus
minute.
Charizard.
Yeah, this was kind of the Lost Box, though, was kind of the other deck around. Let's see, I just dropped something. It was the other deck around when Charizard first started to rise to prominence. So recent history has favored the Zard, as it tends to do. But,
Yeah.
like, Lost Box still was fully competitive. And we're seeing a pretty back and forth early start. And thanks to Garantina having a pretty solid health pool for 280 with that V-Star power, able to survive the hit for 240 from the Burning Darkness and keep on swinging. Not to mention the second Giratina already pretty set up in the back.
Yeah, it looks like we're just gonna rip the Star Requiem here again. Not a bad call to go for. You're just gonna put yourself up another 2 prize cards, and this matchup can be very tricky here for Charizard. You just don't scale damage fast enough against Giratina, and it can just get a little bit dangerous for you, especially when they play something like Radiant Greninja. So obviously, Moonlight Shuriken early in the game is something that you have to be very, very conscious of. This deck does have access to the Dusknoir package now too. Does Charizard, so that makes things just a little bit, maybe more leviable for you. But again, there's just so many tools that Lost Tina has at their disposal that can just kind of choke out your resources. Spiritomb to block you from being able to use Rotom or Luminion, and again, just having the ability just to blow something up in the active, without having to waste any resources is pretty sick.
Yeah, speaking of that Spiritomb, it's hanging out right there.
Bro's big chillin'.
Yeah, basic Pokemon V in play have no abilities.
Yeah. And that's going to be very helpful in this matchup because it prevents Rotom from drawing extra cards. But also, it's effective in being able to stop Luminion from being procced when it's dropped. So your opponent can't just get boss, can't just Luminion for boss. So, that's going to be a pesky card that, Marcus Etan's going to have to deal with here. But, again, so very well set up right now. Things can get kind of dangerous here.
Absolutely. We're seeing the Charizard get dropped and trying to fully scrap back into this game despite how ahead of the curve the Lost Box player is on the side of PKS Blaze. What I do find so interesting about a game like this is the comeback value is certainly quite high, but it all kind of depends on just how things end up getting put together from a sheer like numbers perspective. And you know what, with the boss in hand of the numbers, we're certainly in favor of PKS Blaze for that game number 1.
Yeah, that was a pretty just chalk hand right there. Your board state's so well set up. You have 2 Tinas just kind of lurking here, and boss's orders to knock out whatever 2 prizer is sitting on your bench. Pretty good stuff right there from PKS Blaze. Again, with a deck that not a lot of people have been playing. So, it's something that I think this deck is going to have its believers, until they rip it out of your cold, lifeless Lost Box lands. And I think I think this is a not a bad instance to kind of whip it back into the zeitgeist.
Yeah, it's a decent meta call, and having the right structure of cards in hand to of cards in like systems, engines, however you want to refer to them, utility mons. Yikes! React to them all again. That's a
Oops,
tough
all
one.
oops, all
Oops, all
energy.
energy.
I know that one too
No,
well.
it's
So
yeah. It makes it neat when you have cards like Spiritomb in play or the recursive, like powerful engine that is Comfey's flower stacking and chorus experiments and mirage gates and all these utility cards, and then you add in some newer powerful mons like the Blood Moon or Soluna who can be a house in and of itself. Like you get
yeah,
this powerful and recursive type of engine that hasn't been in the metagame for quite a little bit that can just appropriately enough shut down, for at least in the case of Charizard, the second and third means of powering through your deck. In the case of like Luminion and Rotom, and able to snipe things out with the Greninja because like they're cutting down on their number of Pokemon in order to make room for the Duskull engine, and they're also playing Manaphy, and like that would shut down the Radiant Greninja, but it still is like clogging up deck space, and that can be a benefit that you leverage in your deck building when, in the case of Lost Box, you are so streamlined.
yeah, absolutely. And also the inclusion of like stuff like Unfair Stamp is really good in this deck. Hand disruption
Yeah,
always proves to be good. And you're gonna get these instances like this where your opponent is playing a stage 2 deck. They are forced to play these tiny squishy Pokemon early in the game, and you're gonna have an opportunity to maybe if you hit the nuts your second turn, you put yourself in a good position to get an attack off this turn. But we're gonna see the hard pivot out to the Cramorant instead. Charmander's gonna live to see another day, but Pidgeot will have to wait at least 2 more turns before anything possibly happens, as that Spit Innocently will take that first knockout.
the bird came down. I think that's generally an almost, depending on, of course, situation and hand structure. I feel like taking out the Pidgey, any amount of Pidgeys, is way more worthwhile than taking down a Charizard. As dangerous as Charizard can be, Pidgey gets everything in motion, ties the whole deck together, gets whatever you need whenever you need it.
Yeah.
Clearing Pidgeot of the board is way more tempo, even if the danger really isn't gone.
Yeah, listen, Pidgeot has committed crimes that are
Yeah.
unspeakable to to some people. It's very clearly like the Distraught serves a drink for any deck that uses it. Being able to get one of anything out of your deck, kind of broken. So if you're able to slow that down in any capacity, if you're able to slow that down in any capacity, you're gonna do so. We're gonna grab the skateboard, do a kickflip out of the active.
Yo, this Comfey doing tricks.
Oh wow! Okay, excellent hold of the boss's orders there, and that now we're gonna be Charmanderless for this next turn as well, Henry. So Cramorant clocking it has Cramorant's been seldomly used the last couple of games for PKS Chris, but for PKS Blaze. They're kind of I think Cramorant's making up for lost time. I'm here all week. Thank you.
Nah.
Airline food. Airline food.
No, I think it's always nice to see this because I think in a lot of games that we've seen Lost Box, whenever it comes around, the Cramorant damage is always seen as a bonus, but the never anything that's worth writing home about. But because we're playing against a stage 2 deck here, in the case of PKS Blaze, like Cramorant is allowed to put in a little bit of work, taking 2 prize cards on its own, setting back the Charizard and the Pidgeot each by a pair of turns. Pidgeot just now hitting the board, and while this hand is now powerful thanks to the couple of quick charges that got off for this Rotom V, the having 2 searches of any card in your deck certainly being quite powerful with the Pidgeot and the 4 Sealstone. Like, there's just a sheer, like, the board state isn't there to go on the offensive in this turn.
Yeah, it's gonna be. This is kind of like a tough spot to be in when you like don't have a very strong start. And this is why you see cards like the Thornton in these Charizard decks. Is that like you have to like you cut a lot of consistency cards in your Charizard deck just to make room for everything. So I think being able to use that Thornton to get a Pokemon into play, unexpectedly is very effective. But now we're gonna see the Dedenne come into fruition here. An interesting inclusion has that electromagnetic sonar attack, allow you to search your take a trainer card out of your discard pile and add it into your hand. We're gonna grab the Ultra Ball, and that's gonna be the turn.
Definitely telegraphs the rare candy in hand. Not that much can be done with it right now. Done about it right now. Only 1 boss's orders in the entire deck, and of course there is no prime catcher. Instead, you utilize Unfair Stamp, as we called out earlier, for your ace trainer card. Comfey though will get going, and effectively at this point, all that needs to be done for the side of PKS Blaze is just to hold steady and right the ship.
All right, we're gonna use Super Rod to get back these crucial energy cards. A couple of grasses and a water. Now Mirage going to come into the fray here. Looks like, just going to power up Giratina. Think about where to put this last Psychic Energy. Makes the most sense. Just going to put it onto Giratina. And now Jet Energy to attach from the hand. And now Boss's Orders once again come into play. Now we can start picking off the bigger threats here. Lost Impact does exactly 280 damage. You know who has 280 HP? It's Pidgeot.
And Charizard, too. Don't they both have the same HP? Or is Charizard at 300?
Charizard's 330, so.
Charizard's 330. Damn. He's big.
Yeah, that boy.
Pidgeot's not big enough.
Big ab Pokemon.
Oh, that's why I'm thinking, like, who else has 280? Like, Giratina has 280. That's right in front of me.
We got there.
No, but that is a powerful number to hit, and being able to clear any of the main Pokemon, the flagship Pokemon from a deck in one hit is certainly a reason to play the deck full stop. And there's a reason why Giratina is seen in Regidrago just as much as it is being piloted right here.
All right. If you're Marcus Etan, you're pretty behind right now, but the Unfair Stamp is going to come through and now maybe buy a little bit of time here. We've taken enough. Charizard is Marcus Etan has lost enough prize cards to where I think Charizard is actually able to one-shot this Giratina V-Star now. So
let's see. It's Burning Darkness is 180 plus 30 damage for every prize card, so that it's another 120. So that's hitting 300 damage.
Yep, just enough over the edge there to take a knockout.
Plus the Pheasantipity to draw 3 cards. Comeback potential certainly alive here with the Charizard setup. We're going to be removing a Giratina, taking so much hand advantage out thanks to the Unfair Stamp. driver's seat in full control is Marcus Tan. Sableye.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting draw.
Yeah, Sableye is a once upon a time. Sableye was a real jerk for a while. he was a mean little guy. Ooh, but now we're now gonna get Sableye on board here. Sableye with that Lost Mine ability. Obviously, when you have 10 or more cards in your Lost Zone, you can spread 12 damage counters across your opponent's board any way you want. So good at setting up math for your ninja. Good at setting up math on in other Lost Box archetypes. That card's really good.
Yeah, definitely at least some amount of pressure from the Sableye as opposed to going and benching the Blood Moon Ursaluna that came to hand a little earlier. Choosing to try to build up some hand advantage. You do have some time, and peppering away with the Cramorant is important damage right off the jump because that lowers down the Charizard to having 220 HP, allowing for the Giratina to swoop in for the kill whenever another Giratina gets set up. Or maybe Cramorant goes crazy and is allowed to hit for 3 times in a row. You know, as unlikely as that is.
That guy is ridiculous. Yeah, and I think something that's important to more notice here is that PKS Blaze has only given Marcus Tan a board state full of single prizers. So now comes the fun part about Lost Box is that you force your opponents to engage with you in a way where they have to take one singular prize at a time. No easy outs here.
The energy's not a bad draw here, Kyle. Especially
no, that's pretty good.
You have more means to reset and add more to the Lost Zone. Another Comfey, but that one is going to get put in the Lost Zone. Only need the 2. 12 now banished. And the energy is going to get discarded, keeping the psychic energy as the grass goes to the discard to draw 2 Colress V-Star Giratina on the polls.
All right, unfair stamp, probably going to be the grab here. You're not going to be able to disrupt your opponent and back.
Some chair squeaking, my fault.
Nah, it's all good. All right, we got a nest ball to get. Ooh, now Blood Moon Ursaluna could be an interesting wrinkle here. Like you said, Henry, you're doing 220 damage. Blood Moon Ursaluna does 240 damage. So you're going to be able to set up the math here nicely for a KO on Charizard to take your last 2 prize cards.
Yeah, and it only needs 3 energy, and we are able to accelerate all of that on thanks to the attached return and the Mirage Gate. Do 240. Swing for game. 2-0 and a handshake in favor of PKS Blaze, the second player to make top 4 here tonight at Late Night 232, with J.O. Pedro taking it 2-0 over the one Salty Steak, giving us each 1/2 of the top 4.
All right, let's bring it back to the caster chat for a second, and we'll give the lay of the land. Hold on for 2 seconds, guys. All right, it's us again, folks. Lost Tina seems to be the wave tonight. Very interesting call. Again, this deck has been pretty dead on arrival since Kyurem came out, and since because Reggie Drago just eats his deck for breakfast. Right. I aspire to be as big of a hater as Kyurem is to Chorus.
Honestly,
it's if I ever see your name anywhere, it's on site, bro.
Yeah. Pokemon Black and White 2 was Kyurem's Joker moment.
From Smash? It's crazy.
That's crazy. Jeez.
Wild. Oh man, yeah. Lost Tina again. It's a deck that I think still, there's gonna be some. If you're still playing Lost Teen at this point, I think you're just committed. You're a wife guy. You're locked into that deck forever. And
Yeah,
we'll see.
wiping it
I
with
think now that
guillotine.
yeah, I think now that we know that we have a horizon of when rotation is happening. At the end of March, I think we're gonna reach a point where the metagame is pretty samey. The next couple of the next format in between then and rotate between now and rotation. So I think people are just gonna be in position where it's like, hey, play what you like. There's no reason
Yeah.
not to. So
See what damage values cycle in. See what you can mess with, what you can prepare for the coming rotation. For what it is worth, the PKS Blaze did run into two players that made top 16, but both of players that he has outplaced by this point. Uh, Hand Pancake, who was on the Reggie Drago, was the loss, and Riley 448 was a loss on the Arcaludon. So, hey man, like I play a deck that's a little bit rogue and has a really bad matchup with the meta, but like, what if I just don't play against Reggie Drago?
yeah, they say wild concept. Whoa, you're telling me I could just dodge this deck?
Or just
Insanity.
dodge, like easy peasy. I'll just play against all the normal decks that are perfectly fine.
It's so all right. I am currently in the midst of watching Gabriel Fernandez about to just like expertly nuke this guy. He's playing on stream right now. Gabe is so good. He is in. He's a world champion. As a senior, multiple time IC champion. He is one of the most. Him and his brother, Vinny, also very accomplished in juniors division, and also won a regional last season. He was the Charlotte Regional Championship, ironically enough, with Lost Giratina. So
Love that.
the Fernandez family it just breeds nothing but winners. So kudos to them, man. It's man, I just feel so unaccomplished compared to these kids. It's just, it
It's
hurts me.
crazy, right? Like, oh man, if only I didn't spend any amount of time like in school and just instead like nose to the grindstone Pokemon trading cards.
You're telling me I could have been good in school and play Pokemon?
Can't believe this. Though this game might be going to a game number 3 for Gabriel Fernandez up against their opponent, who
Oh
is
yeah, did Gabe not get an
Prawl.
attack off there? Oh, because he needed an energy attach. No, I'm an idiot. Oh no, wait, did he? Yeah, what did I miss here? Oh,
Just waiting.
why did I not do? Did I miss something here? I thought I did. Huh. Okay.
Game. Oh, game number 3.
Yeah. In the meantime, I think PK's place is going to be the horse for riding here. We'll keep tabs on Gabe, see how that goes moving forward. Let's head back over to PK's Blaze and see how they're doing.
I mean, they're not playing.
I lied.
Yeah, they're waiting on the winner of Gumi
Ah,
and
you're
3
so right. You're so right. I'm getting ahead of myself here. That game is
Eventually.
eventually.
Eventually, we'll see.
All right. So, do you have the link to Gabe's Twitch stream on your
Yeah,
end?
I'm watching it right now.
All right. I'll patch this into the so we'll watch the end of this set. So, hang tight, guys. I'm gonna get this ready for you guys.
Yeah, you're getting the insider outsider access going on right now.
Hold on, there. You got to do one of these. Window capture. I love video games. There we go. All right, so we got Gabe's window up here. Forgive me if this looks a little janky, guys. It's because it is. Trying to fit this in a way where it's appropriate for everybody. So there we
Weird
go.
opener from Gabriel. Solid start from Prawn. from Praw. I keep saying prawn.
It's just like it feels like it should be there, right?
Yeah.
Like it feels like there's supposed to be an end there. Um, yeah. So Gabe rocking a deck that's I'm surprised does not get a little bit more play. I've always been a big fan of Noctowl Terapagos. Um, I think this is a deck
Yeah.
archetype it's a deck I think that like if you're like new to the game right now, it's a deck that I think showcases it helps you sequence a lot better. This deck is a just one big puzzle that kind of has to be put together. It's a deck I've played just like I played very sparingly of this deck. I actually think it's a lot of fun personally, but it is a lot of moving pieces you need sometimes, and sometimes you just kind of have these god awful starts. So, but fortunately for Gabe here, you do have the aid of Fan Rotom, which is a great way to kind of get all your little dudes set up here, and very purposely going for the all single prize board here against a deck that can blow you up on its first turn of the game going second. So even if Gabe gets knocked out here, there's still a strong there's still the possibility for a strong turn 2.
Yeah, taking it slow is something that the Terapagos deck can really flex because you're swinging with a lot of either low prize Pokemon, in the case of the Noctowl, the Rotom Fans, the Pidgeys, just I'm eventually going to evolve these just in one motion. In the case of the Pidgey, it'd be with using a rare candy. And then once I'm ready, the Terapagos will slam down and go crazy. And you're not even worried too much about like putting down the Noctowls either. The Noctowls are also one prize Pokemon. So much going positively, and you get to flex the utility side of this deck against a deck that's all centered around in the way that turbo decks operate. I put down my big guy, and then I hit you.
Yeah. I think this deck is sick, man. We're going to see the
I
Pokemon.
really like it. I think it's cool.
Ooh, but a successful heads on the Pokemon catcher. That is going to bring up Lone Pidge here. And again, you get to keep your Noctowls, which is going to, give you an opportunity to really pop off this next turn. But unfortunately for Gabe, he's going to lose access to one of the best support Pokemon in the game right now, which is Pidgeot. And that's going to be huge for one reason, because you really rely on that quick search, if you don't, to help you find those double turbo energies in your deck. Otherwise, it's getting a little tricky to get attacks off consistently with this deck. Again, you only play the 4 energies, and Gabe is opting to not play cards like Chorus's Tenacity or Energy Lotto. So, this could prove to be a little bit difficult.
And already just pitching one energy that is on the Raging Bolt in order to get rid of the Pidgey. The Hoothoot's going to come in. The Noctowl is already in hand. Night Stretcher as well can get back that Pidgey should it be needed. The access to Noctowl changes a lot, allows for a lot, just by the nature of you can get any once per turn. That's the ability for Jewel Stealer. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand, to evolve a Pokemon. If you have Terra Pokemon in play, you can search for 2 trainer cards. Like, this is a very powerful ability, and with the Terapagos now being put down, as well as the Area 0 Underdepths, that Noctowl is going to made sure that this is the final thing that Gabriel does in order to get the maximum value off of this search, as well as the maximum value off of this Professor's Research, should that be the choice in supporter card. Man, oh man, it's a whole lot of setup, but without much payoff thanks to the Pidgey only now being placed.
Yeah, again, just Pidgeot is just such a great consistency card in this deck. A lot of these early builds of this Terapagos, Dusknoir package, only featured a 1/1 line of Pidgey, only featured a 1/1 line of Pidgeot for a while, I think people are starting to realize it's like, wait a second, card kind of goated. Let me
Pidgey is a good card.
yeah, let me yeah, it's like let me up my dosage of Pidgeot just to guarantee that I'm able to like get the get my offense started. So unfortunately, again, just kind of a victim of a slower start there. That's going to, but we are still going to be able to at least get an attack off with the Terapagos here, most likely. If we can fill up the bench to the full 8 here, we're going to be doing at least a decent hunk of damage here. Good flip to script as well.
Yeah, this is a very, very powerful sequence. As much as the lack of Pidgeot on this turn does lower the ceiling, I mean, it is still Terapagos with a double turbo energy attached, swinging for as much damage can be allowed by placing and filling up the bench with basic Pokemon. Like there's basic one prize Pokemon, with the exception of the Terapagos itself. Like there's still much to like about how this turn has played out. Just as much as it is that you don't mind if you're Praw that, oh man, there's a lot of stuff being put on the bench. That's a lot of danger that all of your Pokemon now are certainly under, thanks to a maxed out bench of 8 Pokemon from the Terapagos. But it's 230. That's a ton, but it's not knocking out. 220 rather. 220.
Yeah, 220 is just enough to get the knockout on the Ogerpon though. So,
but not on the Raging Bolt.
Yes, but I think that's it's nice to have been able to get down the Dusclops here, because Dusclops or excuse me, the Duskull, that's a rare candy away from turning into Dusknoir. It's going to help you offset your math in that regard. So, 130, proc it. You don't care. You don't mind giving up the odd prize anyway. If it means you're going to be able to trade a little bit more favorably. So, it definitely helps correct some of your problems in these matchups where like your opponent just has enough HP to where you're not going to get hit for it. So. This deck is so cool, man.
Yeah, I really like this deck, especially because a lot of it is it's designed to be conditional in a really fun way. Where
I think you'd really like this deck, Henry. I think you should. I think if you ever feel like frying an egg on your phone and booting up live, I think this is a deck I think you really enjoy.
Yeah, maybe not on my phone, but I'm tempted. The deck looks really cool, and I mean, building any Pokemon deck in paper isn't like that expensive.
No, I think these cards are still relatively cheap now. Tropicos is like dumb, annoyingly like expensive. It's just like it's expensive enough to where like buying 4 of them makes me kind of sad. But like,
let's find out.
I think they're like $3 or $4. I think.
Tropicos EX. The oversized card is $40 now.
I'm sick. I'll take 4 of them.
I'll take the giant one. Yeah, no. Terapagos EX, Stellar Crown, yada yada, is $359.
That's not bad.
Oh, and that's like an off seller though. If I want to get it from like direct TCG player, that's like $7. So that's a little much, but you can get it for like $350, and that's not bad at all. I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh player moment. I'm like, oh, I need a staple, and it's like, if that's really important for my deck, it's like $15, and I need 3 of them, so that's like $45. Like, oh, you're telling me like I could just like build a Pokemon deck for $45?
Oh, I need just 3 of. Oh, cool. That'll be $130 each.
Yeah. Like, awesome. No, but that's the fun part. That's the fun part about Pokemon, especially if you come from other card games. I don't want to use the word easy to get into because the game is absolutely complex and there's a lot you do have to wrap your head around from a turn by turn standpoint. since there is no equivalent to something like an instant in Magic the Gathering, where you have some sort of like agency over every phase of the game, regardless if it's your turn or not. Like there's a difference in there's more prevalence to sequencing and more prevalence to preparation and anticipation on your turn, which makes it difficult. But there's a accessibility to Pokemon that I
Yeah.
think is unmatched by any other card game.
No, I agree. I think I think that's a huge selling point here. Tropicos is about to get its neck broken here.
Yeah,
So,
that's tough, boss.
but I'd still say Gabe is in a very favorable position here, as Pra was forced to take that odd prize card initially is going to put them back on the 3, and you see Gabe recognizing not wanting to put Raging Bolt on even prize cards, because when the Area Zero was bumped, he immediately got rid of the Dusclops. So knowing that, it's like, okay, I don't want to put my opponent in a position where this is, going to be a problem. But we got Area Zero, as well as a double Turbo Energy, and a couple more Pokemon to throw down on the bench here. Um, I don't know if we're gonna have enough Pokemon on either. Yeah, there's only 5 benched on that side. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get there.
Yeah, max you can do in this board state is 220, right? So
Yeah, 8 on your side. Let's see, it's 30 times each. So 3 times 8 is like 6 million. I think
3
we'll
times
be
8 is 24, but then you subtract 20 from the double
is
turbo.
yeah. There, math. What is
Yeah,
it? What is it good for?
it's tough. It's tough. The game will tell me how much damage I'm doing.
Yeah, so this is an interesting spot to be in here, but looks like we're gonna use the Noctowl's Jewel Seeker to get some stuff here. Lost Vacuum seems to be the play.
Trying to get rid of the bravery charm.
It's yeah, it's possible. That's not a bad call here. I think you want to be able to. I think getting rid of the Ogre Ponds is huge, because that's obviously energy on board to help uh, Raging Bolt. So, and I think as long as I think Gabe recognizes, as long as he goes 2-2-2, he's going to be, uh, in a good spot here. So we're gonna see the quick search be utilized here, presumably to grab like counter catcher or something to like kind of gust something up here.
Yeah, already has the boss's orders, but countercatcher would be preserving that if that is the option. Dust Noir is already in hand.
Okay, I guess we're just gonna grab the Noctowl and just kind of thin a little bit more. And if he didn't discard the Duskull, he would have had to game up the Fez draw. Yeah, so tough,
Yeah,
tough
tough,
toenails.
tough breaks. Has 10 seconds to make the choice here. Hovering Pow Pad right now, and commits to it. So it seems like the plan will be to boss's orders, then put the boss back in the deck, as the Pheasantipity is the one selected. Makes sense. You
Yeah,
want to cut off this card draw as much as possible, and Terrapagos can one-shot the Pheasantipity after the Lost Vacuum gets rid of the Bravery Charm.
yeah, absolutely excellent spot to be in here. We're gonna use the Lost Vacuum, get rid of the Manaphy. That's gonna get rid of that Bravery Charm, which makes this makes Pheasantipity right in the range to get punched in the mouth here by Unified Beatdown.
Kind of a pretty large downside when it comes to the Raging Bolt deck. As much as a threat that Raging Bolt is to Terrapagos, with being able to do basically infinite damage, it just output so much damage so quickly. Having 240 HP is just outside of that threshold, requiring you to go through Dusclops and Dusknoir lines to make sure that you're dealing enough damage to one-shot any Raging Bolt. But because the rest of the engine is Pokemon EXs with the Fezzendipities and the Ogre and everything in between, you can just not target the Raging Bolt. Say, okay, you can stay there. I will counter catcher, I will boss his orders, and I'll take out everything around you.
Yeah, and there was actually a scenario there where if Gabriel didn't have to get rid of the Duskull on that initial stadium bump, there's a scenario there where we could have seen Briar come into play here. Briar's is only really initially effective in obviously decks that can attack with Terra Pokemon. So there's a scenario there where yes, it was correct to discard a Duskull, but if he didn't have to, he would have been able to take 3 prizes. I think he would have been able to take 4 prizes that last turn. So would have been pretty sick, but unfortunately, not going to be the case. So now Gabriel cannot lose on this turn, and it looks like he's pretty well insulated here because if we get the knockout from Pra onto Raging Bolt, we're going to see the Prime Catcher come. Okay, so smartly recognizing that Ursaluna is a threat here, but I also think this is kind of a bait. I think this might be a jail situation regardless because obviously Ursaluna could have attacked for no energy on the next turn into something strong here. So I think, Pra trying to attack with a 1 prize Pokemon here is just doing the smart thing, forcing Gabriel to have the nuts if they don't have it.
Yeah, but with the Noctowl already on bench, you can kind of give yourself whatever you need. Searching 2 Pokemon, 2 trainer cards, and since both Tropicos are in play, you're very, very insulated to making sure you have a Terra Pokemon. And not to mention the Quick Search, not to mention the Fezandipity, if you do take an attack here, which seems to be the direction, utilizing the Slitherwing, playing to the outs, which makes a ton of sense on the side of Pra here. Making sure to get rid of the Area 0, which does cut down a ton of the bench space for both sides.
Yeah. There we go. Going to get rid of some dudes here. The Lost Vacuum effective. That's going to, weaken the power of Terapagos, and we're going to be able to knock out a huge threat in the Blood Moon Ursaluna as well. So we're going to see this Burning Turbulence be the attack here. After we just get a little bit more thinning out of the way, making sure that everything is properly put together here. There we go. Good amount of damage here, and perfect math right there, and a very interesting scenario in which your Pokemon being knocked out in checkup is important because now that because Ursaluna died in Pokemon checkup, that does not activate Fezandipity, so Gabriel's not going to be able to draw cards off of that knockout. So Pra did an excellent way to win that game right there. Oh, but I don't even think it mattered. You get Night Stretcher into Blood Moon Ursaluna.
Yeah, with 5 prize cards just already off the table, so that guarantees the free attack. So retreat over into Blood Moon Ursaluna. It swings for 240, which is exactly the amount of health you have left. And the Night Stretcher ends the game. As amazing as that line was from Pra, Gabriel had the backup plan to set up his victory and seal a top 4 finish with a 2-1 game count.
Yep, excellent stuff. So I'll send it back to us while we wait for this other game to finish, Henry, and then we'll talk about what else is going on. Oh, hold on. I gotta hide it. All right, let me There we go. Where are we? There we go. Hold on. Window capture. This is what happens when you stream and do stuff at the same time. There we are. That's us. Hi guys. We're still here. Yeah, Gabriel Fernandez, pretty good at Pokemon.
Good player. Good player.
I was just saying, this deck is just like, this Tropicos Dusknoir is an interesting deck. It's a deck that doesn't it's never it doesn't convert well on the first day of most regionals, but the deck is recognized by the few that play it very effectively. Is like, no, this is gonna. If I make it a day 2 with this deck, I'm gonna do very well. And it's usually like the second. I think in like the first few regionals of the year, it was like the second to like third deck on the graphic. Leading up to those into those day 2 regionals. It's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. I don't really know why. It is kind of a tougher deck to play sometimes. I also think like the prevalence of like Cloth Tropicos makes this deck like not as good. Just a little bit better. But yeah. I don't know. I still think this deck has a place in the metagame. Tropicos is just a solid Pokemon.
Yeah, there's nothing that can go. There's plenty that can go wrong in a match. Not to say that, but there's not really a detriment to the benefit that the Terapagos shell, can be
well played.
Can be fit into, because what it theoretically offers for however much deck space you're willing to put in, and let's just say the engine that you're looking for is 3 Terapagos, 4 Hoot Hoot, 4 Noctowl. And then some amount of Fan Rotom. That's like the Pokemon that you're adding. That's what, like...
Yeah, good teams.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's like 13 Mons. You can fill in the other 10 with either more consistency tools. In the case of Gabriel Fernandez, he plays the Pidgey lines, he plays the Manaphy, the Fezandipity, the Blood Ursaluna, a lot of like normal type staples. Or you could play Cloth, or you could play another like independent Pokemon engine, like maybe a fighting type engine to try and help out, or a psychic type engine with like some sort of other synergy. And there's like expansive room there because the Terapagos shell keeps it consistent on what they offer is high damage, high bench space, or decent damage, high bench space, and like freedom to flex out from there.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
I think once like the Sword and Shield cards kind of rotate out, because like these, decks that play like tiny guys like that, like they really struggle into Dragapult, into Regidrago. I don't think Lugia is a great matchup for Terapagos either, but I think once those cards kind of go away and we're forced to remember them like the Alamo, I think things will be just a little bit easy. I think that deck will have just a little bit more time to marinate. But before we, you're the turtle, baby. you're Shadow Part 2.
Yeah, we're so back.
But all right. So before we catch up with what everyone else is doing, let's take a quick commercial break. Let everyone take their drinks to get refreshed, stretch your legs a little bit. Hang tight, guys.
Hydrate
Hydrate or dihydrate, as the kids say. So all right, so hang tight, guys. We'll be right back with more late night in just a few minutes. So hang tight. Salutations for gamers. We're back with more late night TCG. I'm still Koopa. That is still Ooble. There we go. Those are our names. I want to watch Gabe again, Henry.
Yeah, let's hang
All
out.
right, cool. Hang on for 2 seconds, guys.
Oh, I thought we were already there.
Not yet. I gotta do movie magic. And we gotta do this window capture. You guys are getting a real peek at how the hot dogs made this week, folks. So it's we're having a good old time here.
Got one of those brand. You gotta turn them on the new grill.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this hot dog 3 booms out of whatever that guy says. So I love Costco. All right, we're here at one of our top 4 matches. Gabriel Fernandez, one of the best players on planet Earth, going up against Joa Pedro, 88, who's rocking the Miraidon. So this game's gonna go fast in some capacity, Henry.
Yeah, fast and furious. Now these two, they were matched before. However, it was round 10, and they drew. So I'm not sure if they just decided, hey,
I think they probably ID'd with each other.
Yeah, they probably just like, hey, let's just take the draw and go on. But since they both have made it into top 16. So hey, now they're actually playing. Cool. And how is it going? Well, Miraidon off to a fast start, has a lot set up. This is a Raikou with a Bravery Charm and a ton of energy, but that Bravery Charm is getting knocked off with the Lost Vacuum. And on the other side, like Gabriel is set up. Multiple Noctowl procs, a couple Dust Skulls waiting in the wings, just waiting to be rare candied for massive damage. But we're just going to lock into the Unified Beatdown, take out this Raikou, and even up the price cap.
Yeah, now the pressure falls onto so now the ball falls back into Joa Pedro's court. This is where things can get interesting. So we're assuming that the KO is taken here on this next turn, which is not out of the realm of possibility. We don't have a Magnemite set up, though. And interesting in all these games we've seen with the Miraidon, we have not seen the Magnemite be a factor in these games, which is kind of big in these like matchups where you don't necessarily hit the 220 threshold you need to knock something out. I don't know where what the plan of attack's gonna be here. Maybe just hit your generators and pray is also the angle. But Gabriel gets put in a very interesting position next turn where, assuming the knockout gets taken here on a 2-prizer, you now can put your opponent into Briar territory, and possibly take multiple prize cards on this next turn. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, if we get there.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. There's a lot of small things, small and large things, getting well in the way of a potentially big turn because it requires Joa to have some agency over how what line Gabriel ends up taking. If they do knock out the Terapagos, then you can go for like a Briar line. If they don't knock out the Terapagos, then do you pivot into hunting for another Noctowl? Your bench is full, so maybe you try to hunt for like a Professor Turo's scenario to get some health back on said Terapagos, and then replay it. Like there's some fuzziness onto how things are gonna go out, and all of that really Gabriel has to do is wait and hope there's no hand disruption.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, it's just like I'm curious to know just like what is going on inside Joa Pedro's hand here. We're gonna see the Latios come down. We're gonna hit the electric generator. Gonna put 2 onto the the Iron Hands. We do have 4 Sealstone attached here, so whatever piece we may be missing, you're going to be able to get it. The double turbo engine is going to get attached, which now leads me to believe that we're going to try to knock out one of these small guys on the bench to take, some extra prize cards. It's probably at this point, it doesn't matter which one of the small guys it is. It is going to, okay, no, we're going to take out, do we have enough to, okay, no, we're just going to arm press for the 2 prize knockout instead. Okay, that also makes sense. So Pidgeot is dangerous.
But now you're flexing that this is a really cool line here because now you remove not only removing a big threat, as we talked at length, Kyle, like Pidgeot is a problem and it's violated multiple lines of the Geneva Convention. You're also threatening any of the small guys to win the game. The clock has been very, very accelerated. That egg timer is about to pop, and there is not much Gabriel can do about it except I have to take out you have to take out the Iron Hands, but in order to take out the Iron Hands with the 230 HP, you have to use a Dust Noir, which gives the opponent a prize card and still keeps you at risk of losing the game if any of the small guys go.
Yeah,
I think this is a really neat checkmate.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot to be put in here. Because we're gonna see the Dust Noir popped here to go to 1. You can drop the Blood Moon in here to attack for free, and you can hit Iono to disrupt your opponent to 1. This is some devious stuff right here. If this works out for Gabriel.
And going to Dust Noir, then doing a Dust Noir early, hitting the other Iron Hands was interesting of a decision. But doing the Dust Noir and then Iono, putting the opponent on 1 card, is a very, very solid sequence. You have everything. This Blood Moon Ursaluna is now set up because you Dust Noir to put your opponent down to 1 card. Put your opponent down to 1 prize card. Now the Blood Moon Ursaluna can attack for free, take out the existing Iron Hands. The other one's already damaged. You take 2 prize cards. They're kind of both these. Wait, they're kind of playing great.
This is pretty sick stuff. All right,
This is pretty cool.
Either he has it or he doesn't.
Pheasantipity helps.
Fez does help, and it also is still a 4 Seal Stone to be used. So. But 260 HP is a lot of damage to hit, though. So the only way you're going to be able to reliably get... this deck also does play 4 bosses order, so, you could probably push that. You hope to hit one of those off of the flip the script. PK's Blaze, I don't know the update on the last top 8 match. It looks like it just finished, so I'm assuming you're going to be able to get to play that out soon. So
the bridge moves on.
Yeah, we've officially crossed that bridge when we got to it. So
yeah,
that guy's sick. So
happy for him. This is
it's a spot.
Yeah, it's a spot. It's a spot of all time. Raichu, getting any card, presumably that's okay. Secret box, pitch 3, add 3.
Definitely a good spot to be in. So, you see Gabriel just kind of covering his eyes. He doesn't. Wait. He can't look.
Wait, but the Arven was played. Because there's no attackers.
Oh no. Okay, it's a Raikou angle. But do we have the? Do we have it?
Electric generator. Just nail it.
From deep.
2.
Oh, we hit 2. Yep.
And the 3rd for the attach. And so you swap in. How much does this do? 340?
Yeah, with a full bench, forget about it. So
that's enough.
There we go. Good stuff from Joe Pedro. Again, Gabriel did what he had to do. You're because of how Terapagos functions as a Pokemon, you're forced to go first if you want to be able to get an attack off. So you're giving Miraidon the inside lane to get that turn 1 knockout if they're able to get there. And that seems to have been the case. What happened? We did miss the first prize card of the game, but Gabriel did everything he could, played to your outs to the best of your ability, and unfortunately, Secret Box and Pheasantipity are both on the Geneva Convention violation list. So
yeah, they have definitely violated some of the UN rights.
Some crime has been has been done as a treat.
Yeah. Not that the British care. all the political humor today, guys.
Yeah. And for them it was Tuesday. Oh man, we have fun here. So.
We have fun here. Weird open for Gabriel.
This is pretty this guy rules, in my opinion.
Like the fan Rotom's doing a lot.
Yeah, Fan Rotom is going to be doing a lot. It's actually pretty. I mean, if you can get all your birds in a row here, you put yourself in a pretty good spot to get all the things you need. So you got both. Oh my God, you got both Pidgeys, bruh. That's sick.
Yeah, like what's stopping him from saying, okay, I'm going to put all 5 birds just on the bench right now?
Well, you can't do that because then you bench lock yourself. Because you need the Terapagos in order to like fully utilize the Noctowl. So
okay, so we will put 4 birds in the row.
I give you 4 birds.
4 birds.
One of my there's a gym leader challenge deck I'm constructing that is made of strictly colorless bird Pokemon, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh, Faulkner deck. Let's go.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. shout out GLC.
I truly do love the vibe of Gen 2 being like, yeah, you've got all of your typing gyms, your ice type gym, your bug type gym, your normal type gym, your bird type gym. Yep.
Yes, my favorite type, bird.
Bird.
Alrighty, so subsequent turn here for Joe Pedro. Let's see if they're going to be able to get something off. Ooh, okay, Bros is giving up the Pidge. Interesting.
I guess you have the second one, and you're not really in a position to evolve it.
Yeah,
but you could be like double. Like Noctowl is pretty crazy, and nothing's stopping you from Noctowling twice.
Yeah, Noctowl I just think is a better it's just a little bit more efficient for what you want to get done here. So we'll see if this comes back to potentially bite, Gabriel in the butt here. You're gonna see the Squawkabilly hit the deck. Arven coming through.
Electric Generator and the Rescue Board. Yeah, this turn 3 is gonna be crucial as the heavy ball comes in to nab an Iron Hands, I believe that was, and then a Nest Ball for the remaining bench slot, which will go to. We already have Pheasantipity is the answer. With every other Mon that makes sense, the Rescue Board attaches onto the Pikachu, who will swap right out at some point after this Electric Generator, but it only hits 1, so not really in a clean enough spot to go for any offensive positions. So we're just going to Fleet Foot after going through this. Not Fleet Foot, we're going through the search with the 4 Seal Snow.
Yeah, Star Alchemy.
Yes.
All right, try and get whatever piece you might be missing here. It is going to be the secret box. Not going to get full max value out of it, though, because you did use a supporter card already, but you're going to be able to get yourself set up for next turn. You have an Electric Generator on deck. Going to go ahead and proc it, see if you hit. We did get a hit. and it's just one.
The face cam is doing a lot.
Yeah,
Oh.
Gabriel's very expressive, and it's very
Yeah.
funny.
It's pretty great. He's got the Maverick jersey on. Like he's hanging out.
He's balling. He's certainly balling.
This is massive damage to that Pidgey though. Not able to go for the amp you very much, however. It's just going to be the arm press to take the prize card. No 4 energy, only the 3, which is enough to put him ahead, but not enough to really put the screws on.
Yeah, that one. Oh no, but we just gotta pass the buck. This is kind of a worst case scenario here for Gabriel. You are just kind of sitting on bricks right now. Unfortunately, without the Terapagos, you can't really unlock yourself. And again, player can't do it a lot right now. It is, it's very funny.
Was that a sneeze?
That's a good. I'm not
Oh
sure.
no, he is. We are full on hiding in the jersey.
Yeah, no, there's no sneezing. It's just molding.
Yeah. All right, holding chat. The birds are going down one by one. Ultra Ball gets out of this. Nest Ball gets out of this.
From deep, we get it every time.
Tragedy, absolute tragedy.
What if you wanted a nest ball and God said, "What about a third double turbo energy?"
At this point, you gotta. I don't even know what you have to do.
Pray.
Yeah, it attaches the double turbo onto the Noctowl. Noctowl still searches even without it, right? Oh no, if you have no,
you need to you need Terapagos in order to use Noctowl, so that's why we're just kind of stuck at this standstill here. This is just nice. This is just not good. I think the game is just straight up just over at this point. Like, unfortunately for Gabriel, the deck just did not want to show up for work today.
Yeah, it happens. It's rough though. Yeah, I misread Noctowl. I thought it was like a weird condition. Like if you have the Terra Pokemon, you get 2, but if you don't, you get 1. Yeah,
no, that would be broken though.
That'd be silly. Yeah, you're so far behind.
Just fourth double turbo energy?
Yeah, at this point, it's just curious. Like, how much does God hate you? Night Stretcher. Like, okay.
Zoink Scoob.
Yeah, oof.
That is that is a. Oh man, you could build a condominium with these bricks.
Oof. Yeah, just a couple players bricked up on a Wednesday night.
And on that one, I think we're just gonna. Oh,
yeah, I think we're there.
I think we're just gonna switch it back to us, and then we'll just good luck.
Tough.
Congrats, Gabe, on top 4, but we're gonna just end the suffering here. So hang tight, guys.
That's a rough one.
All right, it is us, except you can't see us yet because I have to put our faces back in. Hey, what are you looking at? It's us. All right. You want to go over to PKS Blaze and see how they're doing?
Yeah, I guess right. Like they're the only player left streaming.
Yep, they're our last hope. If they lose, then we're done for the night. So let's go watch some bridge stuff, guys. We are bridging. Oh, is the game over? Hold on.
I'm still cracking up about the third double turbo energy.
That was absolutely nuts. All right, PKS Blaze went up 1 game over Gumi 35. So
bridge not quite built.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, waiting in the wings. Miraidon in its full power, its fullest power it can get.
Alrighty, so we'll see how this game works out here. Lost Tina versus Arcalon on EX is not something I had on my bingo list today, but hey, I've seen crazier things happen. It is
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of the old and the new.
Yeah, it's just like Arcalon is an interesting. It's in a very interesting spot right now. It's like equal parts, not a bad meta call. It's a 300 HP like stage 1 Pokemon. Not a lot of decks are hitting those numbers to knock that out. But at the same time, there are like these like weird decks that can one shot you that are pretty good right now. It's like Raging Bolt's the one that come to mind. Is Raging Bolt matchup is pretty bad for that reason because they could just get blown up. But it's good in the Reggie. Anything that can take a hit from Reggie Drago. Even this deck is gonna have problems one shotting it because it has more than 280 HP. So we'll see if the tank style of offense will be effective here for Gumi, and if maybe we'll be able to get to see some Dialga plays come off the rip. So
yeah, the major downside though is this deck looks like it just kind of moves pretty slow.
Yeah,
and just you get the only Pokemon you're playing are the Duraludons, the Duraludon line, the Dialga V line, and then a one of Relicanth, Fezandipity, and Radiant Greninja. Starting with the Radiant Greninja, and then the attached return, of course, to flex out the retreat for next turn. Not much else going on. Not much else you really need going on. You just are waiting for the Arcaludon, and you're going to get set up when you get set up. Meanwhile, there's going to be a lot more moving parts on the side of PKS Blaze. Even with the Sableye only opening, you have you've got the Buddy Poffin and everything in between to get going and get yourself in a pretty prime spot.
Yep, I think you're in like an okay position with I think in this matchup in general. Because on the other side, the deck you're playing against is also pretty slow. But we're gonna see the Assembly Alloy come through here, and the research off the Rift. That's a high five, Henry.
Yeah, that's a classic +7.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily love the use of the Professor Magnolia, Professor's Research, but I only ever use that card if if all of my other Professor's Researches are in use. So. But hey, love that for that guy. So,
yeah, he's a fan of Sword and Shield. I wish that game was better.
I do too. It's fun, but man, I just wish it was a little better.
It's a little bit, not bad.
Yeah, just very British.
Very British. Very British. That does knock it down a peg.
Tough.
No, we're
tough draw.
Slamming the bosses orders down. And now, yeah, I guess at this point, because as you said, Kyle, like tank-based offense, like the Arcaludon hit the board, it's 300 HP. Assemble Alloy also comes into play. When you play this Pokemon from your hand, you can evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn. You get some basic energy attached from the discard. Slam it for 220. And at that point, the snowball was rolling down the hill, and that was enough for PKS Blaze to call it and bring us to a game number 3.
Yeah, PKS Blaze saw enough in that game. Again, once there's a couple of the bridge guys established, it just makes this matchup really, really hard. So, tough spot to be in if you're PKS Blaze. But hey, if you're Gumi, you're gonna take that all the way to the bank. So
yeah, 1,000%. Now you get a chance to go first here for on this all important game 3. If you are Blaze, get a chance to establish, to set things up, and to get going.
Yeah,
starting off with a Comfey is always a prime start.
Yeah. More importantly, being able to go first here is, huge for the sake of taking away that, that privilege, uh, from the evolving deck. Obviously, all these decks that want to evolve want to go first. So being able to take that turn, that extra turn to be able to establish your own self, is, going to be do nothing but benefit you.
Let's see. Flower selecting. Let's see what you get. A nest ball is nice. Unfortunate about the super rod, but this is why the list plays a lot of multiples.
Yeah.
Not ironically, no, sorry, we're looking at the wrong card. You play four super rod for a reason. Four your mirage gates, four nest balls, three switch card. Like you're playing a ton of copies of these cards for exactly this reason. You're going to be putting a lot in the lost zone.
Yeah. No, it just makes a lot of sense. So, playing the full four is going to do nothing but make your life a lot easier. So there we go. You're just gonna hard retreat out into the other comfy. Get some more flowers on deck. Tough choice, but the Giratina seems to be the right choice here. Sableye is not going to really do a lot of good in this matchup just because, 112 damage counters is kind of just chump change when Arcaludon has 300 HP.
Yeah, 300 is a big number.
Yeah.
And 120 doesn't quite get there.
No, it doesn't quite pay the bills there, unfortunately. So let's see how well Gumi can get established here. Again, going second, you're gonna have that first supporter, which is obviously not bad at all, but you're gonna be already behind on the 8 ball in some regard. And here we go, the first instance of Dialga V, Origin Form Dialga V hitting the bench here, Henry. The affectionately named Time Horse.
That is what it is.
Sometimes you gotta call a spade a spade. Yeah. So he is exactly what he set out to be.
Yeah, and then you can already go for the metal coating. There has been a lot of discarding of energy cards for a ton of different effects, for concealed cards, for the earthen vessel, for the draw cards, and that's exactly what's going on here. 2 attaches onto the Origin Form Dialga V at 220 HP. You're feeling okay. The downside will be the hand from PCAS Blaze is kind of all gas at this point. 2 Mirage Gates is pretty insane. And already the Giratina V-Star in hand, ready and waiting to go.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good, all things considered. So,
yeah, I feel like on a mid-rolly hand, like ending on Dialga is, you don't feel too bad against any sort of Lost Box deck because they're not going to output that much damage so quickly. But this hand's kind of crazy.
Yeah, this is kind of nuts. So, all right, here we go. You're going to be able to get basically everything you're going to want here. As we can get a Giratina V-Star set up and established, I think we're just almost about there for Mirage Gates to be activated. So, going up 2 prize cards here could be huge swift of momentum here.
Oh, that was cute. Using the Lost Vacuum on his own attack Pokemon tool card. So that was 2 to the Lost Zone to get to 7, so the Mirage Gate would be live.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite little Lost Zone things you can do to just help make your life easier. Just little things you can do like that to help you accelerate the process of getting cards into the Lost Zone. Beautiful stuff.
Then a big Lost Impact for 280. Has to lost 2 more energy cards, but that is a gone Dialga and all of the energy attached. Trying to set up for a Dialga V-Star play, but takes too long against this hand, and this Giratina takes out its brethren and looks to poised for more. Duraludon hits and the draw 3 off the Pheasantipity. Needs the big one, Pal Pad, to get some cards back into the deck. Still hunting for the Arcaludon or any way to get to it. Ultra Ball, anything of the like. Night Stretcher to fetch back a Dialga.
There you go. Just going to bench that other Dialga, but again, a turn.
There
Just still, there. Okay, there we go. Bridge guy coming through. Going to get a couple of metal energies from the discard into play, which is obviously huge, but we're now going to be able to... Okay, no, we're just going to go for the counter catcher angle here and keep up the pace with that metal defender. 220 to knock out that benched Giratina V.
How do you feel about that, Kyle? Like attacking the non-V star.
I think you kind of have to do that because it's the only way you're going to be able to keep pace here. But obviously, 300 HP in most instances would be a frightening scenario to be in. But Giratina can easily use Star Requiem just to like vanquish that Arcaludon. So this could be a huge turn here for PKS Blaze.
Yeah, I guess on the other side, as Gumi, you're kind of forcing yourself to set up for the inevitability that this Arcaludon that you play to take out this next Arcaludon you play in general, regardless of the intention, was going to get knocked out by the V-Star ability of this Giratina, so might as well try and get some value off of it.
I think you're in the scenario. It's just like, okay, you're going to go down like a decent amount of prize cards, but after the V-Star power is burned that there is no immediate response for a KO. So you can maybe sit on an Iono to 2 for the subsequent turn, but still PKS Blaze has to get there still. So again, still not necessarily out of the woods just yet.
Far from it, in fact. As the jet energy comes down, this does cement the Giratina comes in. Choices, decisions. Do you try to take the long game now by just attacking for 220 or 280 and deal with and utilize the V-Star as the Star Requiem to end the game? Or do you use it now? And the answer is to be preemptive. Take the play, take the big lead, take your 2 prize cards, using the Star Requiem, getting a Mirage Gate and a Switch as the turn passes back.
I definitely think that was the correct choice there. Again, you just want to extend this lead as far as you humanly can. It's just going to put the pressure back into Gumi's court here. Now that Dialga was established for a turn, but I don't know if we're gonna. Unfortunately, given the circumstance, I don't know if we're gonna get to a scenario where we can maybe see that extra turn come into fruition from Star Chronos, but we'll see. There's still game to be played here.
Yeah, lots of Duraludons, lots of Arcaludons as well. So the third energy just get attached, and Iono, called it out, Kyle, one of the last cards in hand, whether it was drawn off the Pheasantipity or not, sets down the PKS Blaze to 2 cards. Meanwhile, a 220 attack goes in, sitting on 300, jamming tower up, a full bench, and prime opportunity to get the ball rolling with multiple Arcaludons in hand. But oh man.
Yeah, we do have the Colress in our hands as well. Tough choice there, but again, just kind of grab one of each of all those guys. And now How do they respond?
Don't even feel like you need to do anything except just swing and
Yeah,
go next, right?
yeah, it's a tough spot to be in because you got to think about how much energy you're down. I agree. I think you just punch here and then you just we'll figure out the rest of it on the subsequent turn because we're gonna have access to unfair stamp after this, so that's gonna make that's gonna put your opponent back on the back foot again, so that makes things a little bit more palatable to say the least.
A collapsed stadium is going to have an effect, however. Jamming Tower has been up for a while as a way to shut down any sort of Pokemon tool cards, but the collapsed stadium will immediately have an effect, not only removing a two-prize Pokemon from the bench, and a spare two-prize Pokemon from the bench that had damage on it already, preventing more prize cards from being taken. It also cuts down the Pheasantipity right into the discard. A nice optimization play there from PKS Blaze to cut out any sort of lose conditions while the Arcaludon kind of stands tall. Another Iona.
Yeah, this is kind of akin to how this deck won the Champions League in Osaka. Um, you just bank. You're basically just daring your opponents like, "Hey, I know you don't have enough firepower to knock me out, so I'm gonna Iona you a few times, tank some hits, and I'm just gonna blow up the small guys around your bench." So,
Man, 440.
that's a lot.
Deserve that?
Yeah, probably. Comfy's definitely committed some
Been around the
crime.
bush.
Nobody asked for Comfy to be weak to metal, so.
Yeah. Now the Iona there is a little rough, right? Because you had what Gumi had done before was Night Stretchered back for the Arcaludons, but they Ionoed before evolving them in what I assume is a hunt for the Dialga V-Star. So they might not have any Arcaludons available immediately in hand. Meanwhile, even with the small bench, everything is at disposal here for PKS.
Yeah. We're gonna. Oh, we get an Iona of our own. Could realistically just see a few more cards, see if that does make a difference or not. No, just gonna. Okay, we're gonna bench the Cramorant and then just go for the Iona to 2. See what we get. Sure, why not?
Well,
And I end my turn.
two dead draws will be helpful next turn, but a couple dead draws. Research, pitch 3, see the entire deck, basically over half of it.
Yeah,
Almost half of it.
More or less. You're seeing a good amount of stuff there. So.
Tense display. Gumi is in the driver's seat, but has a very thin margin for error, as one energy is attached onto the Dialga V-Star. It's preparing for a massive, massive play, but without any Arcaludons, you can't get the big swing and attaches that you would like for this V-Star, and that does take 5 energy.
Yeah, this is a precarious spot that we've now found ourselves in. Again, the 300 HP of our Calydon is proving to be a lot right now, especially when you don't have access to your to the V-Star power to just instantly knock out the thing in front of you with Star Requiem. So it's gonna be curious to see how PKS Blaze navigates this. You hope that you have enough resources left in the deck. There's 9 cards left. You're gonna be. I think you're down to your second chorus. So I mean, it's gonna be tight, Henry.
Yeah, in a really, really rough spot. There's the psychic energy. And then you get a chance to flower selecting. You see the water energy. Giratina V-Star requires Psychic and Grass. Unfortunately, having to discard the Grass energy is a little rough. Super Rod is able to put stuff back, but you're not trying to switch right now, and you're certainly a little scared about popping the Colress, but at this point, desperate times call for desperate measures. You get the Mirage Gate and the Unfair Stamp and the Switch card. Unfair Stamp is alive. Mirage Gate is not until the Super Rod is pulled. No cards left in deck.
You need to find a way to get that. You need to find a way to get Origin Form Dialga into the active while also being able to. Okay, no, we're just gonna punch into this guy. So. Okay, this is another interesting spot to be in. So now, it looks like the spot to be in here is okay. I'm gonna punch into your big guy with Cramorant, and then the ball falls into like, well, do you have enough metal energy in a discard pile to maybe be able to cheese that extra turn out with Star Chronos? I don't know. We'll see what happens here.
Has just one card in deck, 6 cards available. So the Unfair Stamp was the direction of the play instead, so that they will draw their final card and have their full deck at their disposal, all 6 cards, including the Grass Energy for the Giratina. And now the Arcaludon is underneath the 280 threshold. Next turn, the game is won if Gumi can't do anything about it. But we are swapping back into a other Duraludon. Boss's orders for the Ninja Pass.
We have switch in hand.
But no way to get the 2 prizers in.
Oh man, this is so awkward.
Is this deck out?
It's possible. Yeah, they have no way to. They have no way to get energy back into the deck. There's no way to recycle resources.
Unless the plan is to
I think
attach.
this is. I think it's cooked. Yep, that is gonna be. That's it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate
with
stuff
no way
there.
to get the 3rd energy. That's brutal.
Wow, what a way for the game to end, Henry. Again, a real choking of the resources. But we'll talk a little bit about it when we get back. We'll send it back to us. We'll talk a little bit about what happened there. So hang tight, guys. Oh, hold on. That's not our faces. Sorry about that. I got lost on the way over here. Yeah, you needed to. Yeah, it's someone in the chat saying, yeah, you need the stamp before you need the gate before you stamped. So yeah, that was tough. That was a tough way to lose the game like that. But hey, congratulations to Gumi for moving on to finals of late night against Joa Pedro. There we go. We figured it out there. But fortunately, that match will not be streamed tonight. But we did get a lot of rounds in tonight, Henry. So making up for a little bit of a hiatus here that we've both been on. But congratulations to everyone that competed tonight. We got some fun games. We got to see the bridge do bridge things. That's what that deck does, man. Sometimes you just got to go down a few prize cards. I don't know your opponents to junk, and then see if your opponent will be able to strategically claw their way out of it. And in that case, for Gumi, worked out in their favor.
Yeah, definitely one of the more straightforward type of stage 1 decks without feeling like you're committing to any sort of stall. Like the decisions you make in the Arcaludon list feel like you're focusing more on multiple turn development of plays. So you make less decisions, but those are more impactful towards your game, almost like building a bridge. Wow.
Wild concept.
So you're, instead of having like multiple moving parts like we seen Terapagos show off or like we saw Lost Box, it was okay, I like, when do you choose to evolve is the biggest choice that you may have over 2 or 3 turns. And
Yeah.
otherwise you just, all right, and I'm gonna draw my card. Maybe you play a trainer card, maybe you don't, maybe you just swing and call it a day. And that's sometimes how it be.
Yeah. But, well, that is going to be it for us tonight, folks. So, thank you for joining us for its foremost first late night of the year. And we made an announcement on Twitter this week. The late night season is going to be a little bit shortened. We've had some, we're doing some changes to kind of modify things for you guys, and also, we're nearing rotation and everything else. So, so there's going to be some changes and stuff to the late night season as we move forward. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Henry, let the people know where they can find you if they feel so inclined to do so.
Yeah, if you're interested in what I have to talk about, then you can find me on Blue Sky and on Twitter at UBL267. Catch me there. I don't post a lot, but when I do, sometimes it's interesting. So I won't lie to you. Sometimes I'm just retweeting cats. It's fine.
That's so real, honestly. You guys can find me on the internet at Koopa NJ. I just be saying stuff, bro.
Yeah.
I play Pokemon TCG. I like fighting games. I'm building a GLC deck right now while I'm commentating. So, but now I'm gonna go to bed because it's late. But thank you guys.
It's almost 3 a.m.
Yeah. Oh boy, 3 a.m. All right.
Oh, boy.
Thanks. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us this week, guys, and we'll see you next week for more late night action. Good night, everyone.
Good night.